Robert, thank you so much for coming on to our show today. Really, really appreciate it, Robert. You are, I think, at this point, one of the self-styled and really recognized marketing gurus here in the world.
Oh, guru, what a word. Oh, man.
Well, with that beard,
yeah. Well, I'm trying to be, I was too baby-faced. I got to get a little respect here. That's what that is.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. But, I've been talking to folks about marketing, and I wanted to ask you a question that I feel like is really important for people to understand, because a lot of folks think that, we'll put something together, throw it out there, and, start, pulling in the receipts, right? But, marketing doesn't work like that, in the sense that if there isn't some appeal to that message, it's just not going to resonate with folks in this round. So whether you call it resonation or whether you call it what I would say buzz, it's a challenge. So how do you create buzz?
It's such a good question, and everybody wants to create buzz.
Yeah.
And there's so much to it, and nobody's ever asked me that question before.
Really?
No, they really haven't, and I've never written about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, if I'm telling the truth, I've probably never even thought about it.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think I have, because I don't think of marketing in that way. I usually think of it in just getting the outcome I want. Yeah. But what's interesting about your question is that those great marketing outcomes are dramatically improved when you create buzz.
Yeah.
So I'm going to probably dance around a bunch of different things because it's not super codified in my mind. But where do you want me to start?
Well, how would you, in your mind, define buzz? It gets thrown around, the word gets thrown around a lot. How do you kind of approach it?
If I were to define buzz, I would say it just means people are talking, people are anticipating, and you see that, and if you're not part of it, you want to be.
Yeah.
FOMO, right? That to me, that's what buzz is. And there are a lot of ways to create it, but if you just think about that definition, you have to get people engaged. You can't create buzz by yourself unless you're a celebrity. Yeah. And then you can just show up drinking a Coke and it creates buzz, but that's not most of us, right? Right. So self-styled promotion isn't buzz. And people usually see through that. Real buzz is when other people are talking about it. Yeah. So to me, the first thing is you got to get the right people engaged. And doing that requires that you have something worth talking about. You've been a long time in journalism. You'll get this. I remember years ago, I had some business partners who always wanted buzz. And they could never get it. And they told our PR company they weren't doing a good enough job creating buzz. And the PR company shot back. I'll never forget the conversation. They shot back, well, maybe if you did something buzzworthy.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Well, they fired us as a client. By the way, no names are being used. Those were my former business partners. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, point is buzzworthy, right? Like, if people are going to talk about something, it's got to be worth talking about. You can't just muster up buzz from nothing. I mean, this paper coffee cup is not buzzworthy. Yeah. But if it was handmade ceramic and I had made it for the conference and it was Joel Bruckenstein's face, and on the back it said "Happy 20th, Joel," and I was kissing him on the cheek, okay, that would go buzzy, somewhere on the social media feed, and everybody would be shocked that I kissed Joel, and then he'd probably invite me up on stage and I'd give him a kiss on the cheek, and then, it would be even more buzz, right? So buzz is, you got to get people talking. I don't want to just keep going on and on. I could pontificate, but...
Well, I mean, the reason I ask is because, you created Joel. It didn't exist.
Right.
And then the conference itself, I thought that was an example of creating really durable buzz in the industry.
Yep.
So I'm just kind of curious, was there any kind of strategy sort of as you created that? Like, how am I going to get people hooked in? How am I going to get people really engaged to come to something that didn't really exist before?
There was. And the ability to pull that off was absolutely contingent upon creating that buzz. So first principles. Number one, it had to be something new.
Yeah.
So if Jolt was a Snappy Kraken conference, which, by the way, in its first iteration, we were going to call it SnappyCon.
Yeah.
The immediate assumption would have been, well, I don't want to go hear about Snappy Kraken.
Yeah, exactly.
That
is trying to sell me on something that you're doing.
Right. That's not going to be buzzworthy, right? So, no, it was going to be something new. So we're going to have a marketing and creativity conference marketing, branding, growth, creativity, the only one in the space that's never been done before. So that's one.
Yeah.
Something worth talking about. Wow, this is new. Worth talking about. People come up to you, they're going to ask you why you have a cast on your leg, right? It's worth talking about. And it's new. Hey, he doesn't usually have that cast on his leg. So newness. Second thing, and by the way, I'm going to just say that something doesn't have to be completely new. It's just to be positioned in a new way.
Right.
That's another key thing about it. So it sounds new. That's number one. Number two, we had to involve the right people. So I was very intentional about who I included in Jolt, who I invited on stage, who I gave free passes to, because I wanted people who had reach to be profiled. And it made sense because we're a marketing conference to have those people there. I invested in getting the right publications there where I could.
Yeah.
And then I made sure that the right introductions were made so the right content would be there. And, even incentivize people for reaching out. So I didn't do it at this conference, but I thought about, before my presentation, saying, look, everybody during my presentation, find something you like, post it on social, and whoever gets the most likes or clicks on their content, I'm going to give you $100. Now, I didn't do it, but that's a little small example of getting the right people engaged to create the buzz for you.
Yeah, yeah. So much of it, I think, is, it's in the planning, right? And that's really hard. I mean, I've had a conversation with Daniel about the Diet Pepsi thing going.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's like, people, it is sometimes trying to catch lightning in a bottle, I guess, but oftentimes it's just planning and planning and planning before execution. To your point, that creates something memorable.
It is, but it doesn't always work still.
Yeah.
And for all the buzzworthy things that we've done at Snappy Kraken, there's an equal amount that we thought were going to create buzz that didn't.
Yeah.
And that's another interesting thing. Your perspective on what's going to actually be buzzy is not always accurate.
Yeah.
And I probably sound ridiculous saying buzzy, but, man, I don't know. It just seems right.
You can blame me for asking, for putting that question, word in your mouth. But were there any kind of lessons? Did you come to at least an understanding of, when things didn't work out, like, were you able to spot why when you sort of did the postmortem?
Yeah, sometimes, and it's different for different reasons. I think creativity is just essential for this, because if you strip everything away, when something is not new or novel, people don't want to talk about it anymore. That's why things spike in the news for a while. There are trends, and then it tapers off.
Yeah.
So you got to be creative enough to keep coming up with ideas, new creative angles, creative ways of approaching things, packaging things. And if you keep that, that's really the biggest lesson. Like, we tried that, it didn't work. We're going to be creative. We're going to try something else. And you persist in that, you eventually will hit on things that will create buzz. And if you get them in front of the right people, I'll give you an example. We just released our State of Digital report.
Yeah.
Right? We've done one several years in a row. So it's old news. It's just data. What are we going to do that's different this time? So we packaged it up in new ways. We made a mini version of it. We incorporated it into our presentations. We did an early release to the media to start talking about it. We started doing a save the date post for it. We packaged it as the largest and most comprehensive data analysis on financial advisor marketing of all time. Right. 250 million data points. Nobody else has ever been able to look at this much marketing insight in one place. 250 million data points. So now it's like, whoa, 250 million data points. There's never been anything that big.
Right.
That's creating buzz.
Let me ask you this. It's sort of like a question to kind of close the conversation. Maybe this might tick people off.
It'll definitely tick me off.
A lot of folks, they're like, hey, I'm not a marketing guru. I need to, reach out to a third-party service helping with that. But, there's things like compliance and so on and so forth. Do you think that because of the nature of wealth management and how you have to be so measured in the way you communicate, that it prevents a lot of people from actually ever achieving that kind of buzzworthiness is sort of how they talk about their businesses? Or it's like that over-reliance on third parties where it's like, you're not speaking your truth, right? It's been filtered through like several different phases before it gets to out.
Yeah, it's true in some firms where they're ultra restrictive.
Yeah,
and where they absolutely don't allow advisors to do things. But that's not true of most. It's definitely not true of the independent channel. It's not true of the marketing departments because it's really a self-imposed limitation. And I know that because I used to run a practice. We did a ton of marketing. We created buzz in the community. We would do quarterly charity events in our community. We did golf tournaments. We did concerts. We did movies in the park. We did it all for charity. We got local businesses involved. We got local people involved. We created buzz all the time. We did it all in a compliant way. So it's not truly limiting. I think people think they can't, and that is a cop-out for them not to try. But if you are committed to it, then you find creative approaches, you get the right people involved, and you can go create buzz. Absolutely, you can.
Robert, thank you so much for taking a couple of minutes to answer this question. I'm glad that I asked you a question that you haven't been asked before.
That's a good one.
That's buzzworthy.
There you go. Let's create some buzz with this. Yeah.
All right, Robert, thank you.
What are we doing here? Fist bump, handshake. They can cut whichever one they want in, right?
There we go.
Okay.
Gang side.
That's right. All right. Thanks, man.
Awesome.